What's up, guys? Techmas here, your source for tech. Today we're going to be taking a look at Windows 8, and basically we're going to see what's changed, other than the obvious, and what's different and what devices should it run on. Now, coming from the start here, it doesn't start up like this. However, this is the supposedly default desktop, if you will. Basically, you can have your old desktop, you can still personalize, you can customize, you can change your wallpaper, as you can see in a second. But as you can see, things are a little bit more square, and that's sort of their Metro UI take on things. It's not as arrow as it used to be. Now, keep in mind also that this is a demonstration build, and this is not the final, so it could look different, and I'm hoping it does, and you'll see why in a second. But as you can see here, you can actually change the themes. There's a Windows 7 extended, Windows 8. The Windows 8 extended is very interesting because I don't have two monitors enabled on this virtual machine. Yes, it's what it is. But what you can do is you can essentially, because this shows Windows 8 extended, you can have an extended desktop. So if you have a basically panoramic view of your desktop, which would be awesome, I gotta admit, I wish I had one of those, then you can have that sort of cinema look to it, and you could also have different desktop wallpapers. Just saying that all the other operating systems, including Ubuntu and Mac OS X, have had this option. But anyways, as you can see here, this is your default desktop. It looks very similar to Windows 7, except for this taskbar. Now, this start menu here, which is right here, looks completely different. In fact, it doesn't even have that orb that you normally see. It's more or less a ribbon effect or look to it. So let's go ahead and click on the start menu, see what it does. Yeah. So they decided to get rid of the start menu entirely in Windows 8. Essentially, it just gets you to what they call the Metro user interface, which is very cool. I might want to add for tablets, but not for desktops. And basically why they chose to get rid of the start menu, essentially, is because they found that people weren't using the start menu in Windows 7. Although, me personally, I didn't use it as much. I searched for my files, and that's what I prefer. I like the search, so why not give the people who are more power users the ability to essentially get your old look back? I don't know. However, I do know this. If you want to basically hack into this and get the old Windows back, that's another topic for another time, but it can be done. So anyways, I digress here. So going back to this Metro UI is really what they're focusing on. And honestly, this is a great operating system for tablets. Again, tablets. So here I can basically surf the internet by just clicking the internet, as you can see. And it'll go into a full screen browser. So essentially it gets rid of the whole multitasking gesture with this. So it's very cool. I'll admit it really has a cool look to it. I like their look that they try to make, but as far as they completely ditched their whole way of Windows, it's very interesting how they decide to go with this look to it. And you can essentially get back to the old look, like I said, through a hack, but that's a different story. Now, by right-clicking and probably by tapping, this is, again, the tablet interface. It kind of feels like this was clunked up really quickly for a keyboard and mouse. But you can also essentially go to your website here. So if I want to go to, I don't know, my YouTube channel, for example. Now notice it is a little bit slower. I have this thing clocked at, I believe, 2.5 gigahertz with core, just one core, because I'm running this as a virtual machine. So it's amazing it's even running this fast, to be quite honest with you. So let's go to my YouTube channel. Okay, so as you can see, this is the new Internet Explorer, I'm guessing IE 10, that they baked into this thing. So it's very interesting. It's not the fastest thing in the world, as you can see here, but let it load. Come on, you can do it. It can load the internet. I've done this before. Don't fail me now, Windows 8. Now, if you want my complete honest opinion, I say this is very buggy for a virtual machine, and they need to work on that, considering most people are going to be using this as a virtual machine to test out their applications, you'd have to be nuts to install this on a hardware device right now. So now, as you can see, my YouTube channel is in full screen. I like the little feed that I have here and Techmas logo here for your source for tech. But it still is glitchy, and I'm guessing because it's the VMware built. If I did this in boot camp, for example, I'm guessing it won't be as glitchy. But as you can see, it really kind of just gets away from the whole multitasking. I don't even see the ability right now. As you can see, you can add a tab here. But what happened to the arrow snap? Okay, if they want to really impress me, then they need to get... What's the deal here? You know, it's really just interesting to see what they've done to Windows entirely here. Now, I can also go to Google. So now I've got Google open. Hopefully that's the lowest page here. It shouldn't take that long to load. But as you can see, this is Google. And I can switch between both of these. Now, like I said, this is a very interesting tablet operating system. And I think Windows 7 and Windows 8 should coexist together, but they're not going to do that. So to get back to the regular Metro UI, quote-unquote, you basically tap the Start menu button on your desktop, or essentially whenever they have on the tablets. Now, everything's really set up like a block, or very similar to, I don't know, they really call it the Metro UI, so I'm just going to call it that. And they give you a list of sample programs here that try out that'll supposedly test the whole Metro UI thing here. And one of them that's interesting, not at all, is testing out the 3D aspect of it, saying you can create 3D applications, and this is very interesting here. I'll show you in a second once it loads up. Anytime now. Okay, so this is essentially an airplane build here. So, mind me that this graphics card is very, very not exactly the fastest thing in the world, so running on top of VM, it's not going to be the fastest. But as you can see, I can see different angles of this paper airplane. In fact, I can design this paper airplane to be customized here. So, let's see. I can choose, I don't know, color anytime now, Windows. Let's choose, I don't know, I like a green here. Choose a green. So as you can see, I can essentially paint on here. And this is the Techmas logo, a single line. As you can see, it just froze up on me, so we have to wait a second. So like I said, they need to develop a better VM for this, or give you a predefined VM to test out applications on this. However, we are back here, so I'm just going to write my logo here. I think I'll put a T and an M. There we go. And now I can go back to the paper airplane. And as you can see on this side, once it loads, like I said, once this is on a tablet, it'll be awesome. And here's my logo here. It just takes a while to get to it. Now, I also worked on something under this. So, I'll go back to here. And we'll flip it under. So it's really showcasing the 3D part of this and saying, yes, you can develop 3D applications. Maybe even the fact of developing it to make it easy for you yourself to develop a 3D application. As you can see, I just modified this paper airplane and just a 3D graphic. Essentially a 2D picture, but that's a different story. So they also have other applications they show off with this, which I find interesting. Again, this is a good competitor for a tablet. This is a piano. So essentially, if you have a tablet here, you can see your piano and you can essentially type on it. So, I don't know, let's play a C chord here. No, not a C. Here we go. And then, as you can see, you can play the piano, essentially. Trying to play something. There we go. Part of a song. So as you can see, this you can mess with the position, and you can even record yourself playing. So if I want to go C, E, G here, or C, E, G, C. so I can play a C chord. Sounds horrible, I know, because, again, this thing's not exactly optimized for a VM. So now I can stop that and play it back, hopefully. Remember that D I messed up on? There we go. So as you can see, that is pretty much an application they showcase, and you can also play other music, which is interesting. I wonder if they're going to have a MIDI on this. But again, this is nothing to do with an operating system other than the fact that it's an external app. And let's see, Piano Sonata here. We'll play that, which is way better than I can do on this little keyboard, which is already pre-played, obviously. So we'll hit the play button. Good luck playing that. So, and it even, what's interesting about this is that it fails to stop in the background, which it should automatically when I exit the app. Couple bugs they need to fix. So again, I can have access to the Windows Store when it comes out. It comes out in February, I believe. Coming soon, not available yet. So let's take a look at the weather app here. Again, these apps are just, it's pre-built into the OS, and nothing's really impressing me about the operating system itself. I hate to say it, but for apps to be pre-installed on here, like the weather app, see, and now you can see in California it is raining. Again, they try to really impress you with their graphics and all that, but is it really worth it? You be the judge. So I can exit that application. I can also set my location, which is not in California. I'm not going to exactly set that. Now let's also take a look at the control panel. Let's see what we can actually customize on this thing, if anything. And again, this stuff loads in a full screen, so each application is full screen. You just got rid of multitasking. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but I think that with this operating system, it's designed specifically for tablets, which you don't even multitask on because the screen is, quite frankly, not enough big. And, okay, so it shows you your home screen, which I'll show you guys in a second, which you can change your picture for your home screen. Essentially, I like this one. And it's not even loading, so it's being awesome. You could change the users. Hopefully you can add this to a Windows domain. It's not like you'd really want to, but hey, what can I say? Now, what's interesting about this operating system I might want to add with the users is that if you had Windows 8 computers, you can essentially have your own virtual domain. And with your Windows Live ID, it'll save all of your location, your information, and all that. However, it's not controllable, so it's not exactly a domain. So you can save all your information when you're roaming. It's very nice. You can save your background. You can decide to turn wireless on or off if you're in an airplane. Your privacy, okay, general, your time zone. So just your basic settings, your search. You can choose where to search from. Share, when you share stuff on YouTube. I hate to say it, but in my complete opinion, if this is what's going to be the desktop, I believe they've dumbed it down for users, quite frankly. And if you want to be like that, why? We're being more tech savvy, more and more. And in my generation, this is silly for us. Maybe I'm just old here, but this seems like it kind of just makes it more simple. And that's not a bad thing necessarily. Simple is good if it can be implemented right. Now, for a tablet operating system, this is a good operating system. Don't get me wrong. I'd love to have this thing on my HP touchpad. Hint, hint. So basically, with this, you can essentially, there's a bunch of applications on here that are this is like bloatware for me, personally. I want an operating system for the reason an operating system exists. It's nice for a tablet. It's great for a tablet. It's great for touch interface. Windows 7 is great for that. But as you can see, all I'm showcasing in this whole entire tutorial is there are pre-built apps that are in here. There's not much in this operating system. I am not impressed. Okay, so what I can also do is I can move things around. So if I want it like this, so their whole Metro UI, and Steve Ballmer at the CES, and don't get me raving about that again, because if you check out my video that will be on the right hand side, you could see about my rants with CES. But as you can see, this is really just, it's disappointing, quite honestly. And it's a good operating system for their tablets, and I think they just should have implemented this for a tablet, not for a desktop. It's as simple as that. I mean, as you can see, not much has changed other than the fact that they completely destroyed the way that multitasking is. Now look at this. This is multitasking. Going back to your traditional desktop, as bad as it is, you can at least multitask. And for the power user, they don't want to be bothered with this. What if, for example, that I'm trying to look up information on a topic, and I need to look on one area and the other at the same time? Well, according to all these programs that open up in full screen, I can't do that as fast. I have to switch between those. So at the same time, it's not even that intuitive, quite honestly. In fact, it just doesn't work that well from what I'm seeing here. And they should really take a hard look at themselves and saying, look, our business is going to like this. And I think that they're not going to like this operating system, personally. It's just showcasing applications. And all it is a Metro UI. It's just like they've dumbed down the operating system, tried to make it more simple, and failed at doing so. Now their desktop, at least they still have that. Soon they're going to want to get rid of the desktop altogether. And I think that's stupid. Okay? So you have this right here. Now this makes sense. I have my web browser right here. Then I'm going to finally have arrow snap on one end and the other. And please bear in mind that this is not optimized yet again for a virtual machine. But as you can see, at least on this end, I can see this. Now, granted, I have to give them the upper leg here. The UI looks nice for tablets. Again, this is a great tablet build. In fact, it could compete with Android, quite frankly. And if they implemented this with their phones, more than Windows Phone 7, and made it more or less Windows 8, and just called it Windows 8, because they want to have this Metro UI. In fact, it's great on the Xbox. Again, it's great on stuff that's portable, but not a laptop or a desktop. Even though a laptop is portable, it's meant for more heavier use. This is great for touchscreens. This is a great operating system for touchscreens. They finally solved the issue with touchscreens, because before, having the touchscreen on the traditional Windows 7 environment is horrible. I don't want to go ahead and say, okay, I'm going to attach this, I'm going to touch this, I'm going to do this. I'd rather have it simple when I'm on the go. I want my stuff and I want it fast. But when I'm doing heavy browsing and using a desktop computer or even a laptop at that matter, it's just not a good case. And Windows Phone 7 and Windows 8, which is trying to essentially fuse the phone and the tablet and the desktop together, has failed at doing this. And they should keep it on a tablet. They didn't fail at this operating system except for the fact that it needs to be tablet-oriented and get rid of the desktop, because you don't need a desktop on a tablet. So that's pretty much it, guys. I mean, as you can see, there's really not much to this build other than the fact that, okay, you got your applications here, and it's very, 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 very simple. They've got a little interesting applications. They have an interesting way to see podcasts, interesting way to see, essentially, they have an interesting way to see everything in full screen without multitasking. And again, this is good for tablets, and they need to find a better way to implement multitasking regardless on any device, even the tablets. But overall, like I said, this could be a competitor to Android and Apple as far as a tablet goes, but not a desktop or a computer, because quite frankly, right now, I'm ready to stick with Windows 7 for my primary PC operating system, because at this point, this is not impressive. And I think a lot of geeks and consumers agree with me that this is not meant to be a desktop operating system. I'm sorry, Microsoft, but this is not your best. It's almost, I'd take Windows Vista over this, to be quite frank, because at least Vista had the old look and feel to it, and essentially I don't want to have to hack something to get that look back. So I think that the only way for Microsoft to succeed in fusing this all together would be to give you two options: a touch interface and a standard interface, which gives you the classic Windows 7. But at that point, why would you bother upgrading? So thank you guys for watching this video. I'm Techmas, your source for tech, and I appreciate your subscriptions. Definitely like this video if you agree with me that this is just not a desktop operating system or a laptop operating system at this point. So thank you guys. Like I said, definitely comment, give me a thumbs up on this video, and definitely subscribe, because I'll be doing more content and looking at other Windows products as well. I'm not primary Mac-based or Windows-based or Linux-based. I like all three operating systems, and right now I'm recording on my Mac mainly because I don't have a Logitech camera, which will come in soon. So thank you guys for watching this video. Stay tuned for another giveaway, which is coming, and more videos. So that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you guys for watching this video. I am Techmas, your source for tech.